Razer has now released its third version of the Basilisk mouse, and in this video, I'll walk you through some of the highlights of the mouse, and we'll try to figure out if third time's a charm. Starting off with the unboxing, there's nothing necessarily special about the box for the mouse. It comes in enough packaging to keep it safe during transport, and little much else. Inside, you'll find the mouse and some paperwork, but also, what is a Razer product if it doesn't feel like a Cracker Jack box by giving you those sweet laminated stickers inside? At first glance, you're greeted with all of its buttons, 11 in total. Having all these buttons are one of the core highlights of the form factor, and the fact that it's ergonomic for right-handers who use claw or palm grips. Lefties and fingertip users, you'll find better refuge elsewhere. The mouse has a good weight of 101 grams, giving you decent enough resistance as you fling it around. It doesn't offer any weight add-ons like say the G502 Hero, but if you do like the lighter side of mice of this form factor, then you'll be alright. One of the two main differences between the Basilisk V2 and the V3 is the mouse wheel, which Razer calls its Hyper Scroll Tilt Wheel. It does have four-sided movement, which many of the mouse in this category has, but this right here is the kicker. Ready? Check this out. Did you see what just happened there? Typically, when you have movement in the scroll wheel, you either select from a free-flying roll with no resistance or a tactile movement that has some of that staggered movement so it ensures you don't scroll too far. This mouse has an option called Smart Reel, where it'll start off in tactical mode, but when you scroll it longer, it automatically changes to the free scroll mode. Now this isn't on by default, as you have to enter Razer Synapse, Razer's hardware management software, but if you don't enable it, you still have the typical ways of changing between the two regular modes, tactile or free scroll, with a press of the button. After using it for a bit, I honestly don't know if it'll be a feature that should make you upgrade from a Basilisk V2, but I do feel like this is a feature you'll start seeing in mice moving forward. It just feels like one of those no-brainer things that probably should have always been in there, but I'm glad that we finally got to this point. I just hope that the intern that brought this to their attention got the job after it. As far as the other options available through Synapse, you'll find the adjustments for this mouse's other big upgrade from the previous version, Razer's 26K DPI optical sensor. I know I just called it a big upgrade, but it's not really that big. The Basilisk V2 had a 20K sensor, so this ups it by 6K. I personally would never use that high of a DPI myself, but the point here is that it can function at such a high DPI, which means it's a very precise sensor. As far as polling rates go, the Viper 8K is still the only mouse with 8,000 polling rate, so the hardcore esports folk will be sad that this doesn't have that big number here, but it falls in line with the rest of the gaming mice in the market at 1000 Hz polling. Under lighting, you'll find the controls to let the V3 go full out Razer Chroma, letting the software integrate with games in order to give you a custom tailored lighting experience, or you could just choose to create your own out of the options that are there. I have to say that this mouse is really impressive when everything is fully lit up. It has 11 individual lighting zones that can produce 16.8 million different colors. Just looking around it, you can see how the lights wrap around the mouse, so fans of RGB will rejoice. Lastly, under customization, you'll find access to calibrate your mouse pad to the sensor by either enabling smart tracking to automatically set up a cutoff point when you just lift the mouse, or you can go extra by pre-selecting one of Razer's mouse pads, or you can go through the calibration steps yourself. While testing out the mouse, I was able to appreciate the grips embedded on the side and just the small amount of texture applied to the mouse 1 and mouse 2 buttons. Now, I did feel the clicks were a little bit different between the buttons. The left side had that type of snap back that I'm kind of used to with most mice, while the mouse 2 had kind of a slightly different feel. Mind you, this is only something that I noticed because I go through so many mice to test. When I investigated a little bit more and I compared it to another mouse, I did find this to be true, and it even sounds a little bit different. Here, see if you could hear it yourself. In the end, I don't think this really means anything negative, as I don't feel this hindered my performance in any way. My clicks reacted instantly, and I never looked at the mouse as the reason I died, just my skills, or lack thereof. I have to point out that I felt that all the buttons were in good reach, and I was particularly surprised with what I like to call the sniper button, which adjusts your sensitivity on the fly so that way you can get that extra low DPI when you have those zoomed in shots. I felt it was just slightly better located than what I'm used to in other mice, so this was definitely a plus for me. After testing with both the PlayStation and Xbox, I can report the Basilisk works well with both of the consoles, but I will note that the only buttons that were working properly were the mouse 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the scroll wheels for any kind of mapping on the controls. The sniper button and the DPI change buttons both worked well, but as serving its functions, not as buttons that you can actually map. Honestly, there's very little negatives I could say about the mouse itself. In my opinion, it just misses out on being called the best in the form factor by lacking things like weight management for fans that do like heavier mice, but I can't really fault them for that because the trend in mice nowadays has been to get lighter, and it is doing a good job there. Overall, it has all the customizations you'd be looking for playing FPS, MOBAs, MMOs, while still being useful as a work mice with the addition of the automatic scrolling wheel. So, should you get this mouse or not? Simply put, if you are a palm or claw user and you want an ergonomic mouse and you find yourself wishing that you had more buttons available on your current mouse, this is one of the best mice that you can get right now. Now, if you're a V2 user, that's a tougher question. You have to decide if the extra 6,000 DPI and the new scroll wheel are worth it at the expense of going a little bit heavier, because you will be going from the V2 that had 91 grams to the V3 which has 101 grams. Not too much, but it is something worth thinking about. I personally wouldn't see myself making that change, but I can understand maybe why you would. The scroll wheel is definitely a cool reason just on its own. Suffice to say, this mouse gets a recommended rating from Gaming Gear. Well, there you have it, folks. Are you getting the Basilisk V3? Let me know in the comments below, and also let me know if this video helped you out or not, and what you might want to see from me next time. Follow me on Twitch if you want to chat with me live at twitch.tv/GamerGearYT, or you can send me a message on Discord or on Twitter at GamerGearYT. And until next time, stay gaming.